We need to put in processes that allow for women who have different backgrounds, they have different priorities, and give them room so that they can participate. So for instance, if I'm a young woman, a single mom, and I've got a couple of kids, how do we get that woman to participate in her union? Because that woman brings an interesting perspective to this organization. So it's a question of, do we put in place childcare arrangements?
I think that caregiver role brings a lot of thoughtful compassion when dealing with issues from maybe a gentler perspective of a woman's point of view in many matters.
There has been some work done by our organization as far as the wages, equal pay for work of equal value with joint job evaluation. And while it hasn't been a complete success as far as the balance there with the wage line, between men and women, I think that the gap is closed somewhat.
Well, it's International Women's Day and it's an opportunity to celebrate women. Women also need to make sure that it's not just about women, but about building the circle so that it's about women and men, and making sure that when the tide lifts the men's boat, that the tide is also lifting women at the same time.
When a female is speaking about wage inequality, less for women, and we are the ones impacted by that, there's a lot of buy-in when you hear a woman speak about it as compared to a man, because that's who it's affecting. If you had an issue about childbirth or childcare, who better to speak on it than a woman, because it's directly affecting that woman.
It was difficult for younger women to be heard, to have their issues taken seriously, and to make sure that they had a place at the table to make a decision. Challenges in terms of becoming a shop steward and running for election and eventually becoming the president of SEIU-West. Challenges for me were, quite frankly, sometimes women or men, but my experiences with women, sometimes women are really hard on each other.
I don't think it's as difficult nowadays as it used to be. So I don't see that as being different. Have I seen a change since I've been involved? Yes, absolutely. As far as, when you look back, say 25 years ago and what the view of the leadership was at that time and who was sitting around the board table as compared to now, it has shifted, and I think everybody works really well together, and mentoring is huge.
They were strong women who were not afraid to stand their ground. They were an absolute inspiration to me, and I'll tell you who they are. Barb Byers, who used to be the president of the Saskatchewan Federation, was, it's not that I wanted to be Barb Byers, I just didn't want to disappoint Barb Byers. So I stepped up my game. But there was another woman that I only met once. Her name was Nancy Rich, and she was out of the Canadian Labour Congress a few years ago. And she came out of the Newfoundland labor movement, rose up the ranks in the Canadian Labour Congress, and that woman changed the lives of women in this labor movement all across the country. She put forward ideas that, quite frankly, were not popular at the time. And I'm going to mangle it, but hers was a quote that said, "You know what? Sometimes the doors are not open to you, but you got to kick them open, and you got to make sure you leave those doors open for the people who are coming after you." And I'm not a Nancy Rich and I'm not a Barb Byers, but I sure as hell hope I don't disappoint either one of them.
My mentor was Barb Witherspoon. She had lots of political savvy about what was going on with the government, very firm beliefs, very strong woman, the type of person that a lot of people looked up to and respected. And I was quite flattered when she saw something in me and encouraged me and mentored me.
My mentors, I guess, they were actually staff of SEIU, and they still are staff of SEIU-West. I had the opportunity to work with them through my role as unit chair, and then a representative for one of the health districts on the board, and with Shauna Colpitts and Kelly Harrington. They just took me under their wing and just, continued on, and I guess they seen something. I'm sure that something was in my younger days, but I just totally am amazed, and what they do still today, I just have so much respect for them.
Do not be afraid, do not be ashamed of being a trade unionist, because we are so very proud to represent these members. And I know we have challenges, I know we have battles ahead of us, but there is no way on the earth that I will ever be ashamed of advancing the rights of working people.
When I did become involved, it was because in my workplace I was seeing so many injustices and the collective agreement not being followed. And I'm a firm believer in with silence there is no change. So I got involved, and here I am.
I just want to say it's one day a year where we can celebrate being a woman. So remember that old song, I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar? Let's roar on International Women's Day.